You might be asking yourself, why do I think today is such an important lesson? The reason I think it's such an important lesson is, Ava, pretty much everything that we use in today's lesson, or pretty much everything we've done so far in the chapter, is necessary to understand today's lesson. And if you're able to put everything together, you're in very good shape, excuse me, for next Wednesday's test. On the other hand, if when I'm done presenting this stuff, you look up like, what is he talking about? You're in trouble. You're in a lot of trouble, because you're gonna have a hard time, unless you come to extra help Monday at school, Tuesday at the library, and Wednesday at school, okay? So, without any further ado, let's go through these questions. Some of them are very familiar, some of them are going to be brand new to you, and hopefully, as we go through these things, you're like, yeah, I got this, I got this! Hopefully, you start thinking like that. And that looks really, really good for Wednesday's work. Okay, so, write an equation of the line whose slope is 3 and whose y-intercept is 4. Now, as soon as you see a question that asks for the equation of a line, what always, I mean always, pops into your head? Why what? Y equals what? Mx plus b. Good. What does M stand for, everybody? Slope. It's how you move. And what does B stand for? Y-intercept. And it's where you begin. Very good. Okay, so we're looking pretty good on that now. So I'm going to put this in place of the slope. So I get y equals 3x. And then the y-intercept is 4, so I put that in place of b, and I get y equals 3x plus 4, and I pray. It's not supposed to pray in school, but I'm going to do it now. I pray that that's easy for everyone of you guys.
No.
That if that's not, then you have a problem, and you really need to start doing some work. Okay? We have a test that's coming up next Wednesday, and we already talked about the fact that progress reports are going to go home very soon. And I can tell you from personal experience what often happens is if the grade you get is disappointing to your parents, they usually follow up with some kind of contact with me, and I'm very good about getting back to them. And then they're going to say, well, how is Johnny or Janie doing in class? And if I look at them and I say, well, I told them they got to know this stuff. And we went through it, and they saw that like the whole class was getting it right, but it didn't make sense to them, and they chose not to come to extra help. They chose not to go to the website and watch the videos to catch up. They chose not to do that. Then the parents get angry, and they get angry for 2 reasons. The first reason is this, and they're both good reasons. Well, no, they're not both good. The first one's really good. The second one's not so good. The first reason they get upset is because they look at you as having a job. Have your parents given you this speech? No. Your job is school.
Oh, yeah.
They look at it, and they're right.
I tell them I don't get paid.
Now, no, that is dead wrong, Davis, and you do get paid.
I don't get paid.
You don't get paid right away.
What?
You get paid.
You get paid in the long run.
But that's a lot. I hope I get like
No,
$20,000.
how does like 2.5 million over the course of your life sound? Yes, it is pretty lit. Therefore, if you believe that if you would work hard for $10 to do your homework or $20 to do your homework, you're better off doing it the way it's done because you're going to get 2.5 million.
Okay.
So that argument, flush it. It doesn't work. Next, the next, Frank, question? Yes, you can go potty. I'll check it off in just a minute. Now, the first reason that is so important that your parents are going to look at is they're going to look at, are you doing your job? And your job is to produce at school. And if you don't do your job, your parents know how the real world works. In the real world, if you don't do your job, what does your boss do to you?
Fired.
And what is Donald Trump famous for saying? You're fired. Very famous from that show Apprentice, which, by the way, I've never seen. Don't even watch it. Now, that's rule number 1. But the second thing, and this is the truth, let me tell you a little bit about being a parent. You ready? When you're a parent, you work very hard. You guys do not know what it's like to sweat rent. You don't know what it's like to sweat a mortgage. There are individuals I know, singles, not married, with going to school, who are older, and by older I mean in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and these people are having a hard time affording everything that they need in their life. It's very difficult on them. And when you're a parent, you don't only have to pay your own bills, you have to pay your kids' bills. And years ago, they added up the amount of money it costs to raise a kid. Years ago, it's more expensive now. $200,000 per kid till the age 18.
200, how much is that?
I don't know exact numbers, but you can bank on 200 grand per kid. $200,000. I think your parents have every right to expect you to do your schoolwork for
That's a
200 grand.
lot.
Yes, it is. Now, your parents come home and they're sweating rent. I'm telling you exactly what's going through your parents' mind. They're worried about making the rent, they're worried about paying the mortgage, they're worried about paying the car bill, they're worried about putting food on the table, they're worried about all the things that they gotta pay for. And they come home exhausted. Your parents are tired, Davis. Your parents are very, very tired. And they walk through the door at night, and they have a boss who's been giving them a hard time. Work is generally aggravating. I'm sure your parents complain about work.
No?
There are some who don't. I don't complain about work. I think the best part of my day is my work. But most people complain about their jobs. Now, your parents are tired, probably cranky. Have you noticed them being cranky when they get home?
Yes, every day they go to sleep.
They're tired, they don't know how they're gonna pay their bills, they're exhausted, and they wanna help, they wanna make sure you're doing well at school, but they're so tired and it's so hard on them that they say to themselves, well, some of your parents sit down with you and make sure your homework is done. Some of your parents will make you show the homework and so on, but most of your parents don't do that. The reason they don't do it is because they're too darn tired, they're too darn exhausted. They're getting home later and later every single day, and they're white. And in their heart, they know that they really should take a more active role. But they're hoping everything will be okay. And as soon as you fail, as soon as you do poorly, not only are your parents upset with you because you should have known better, but they're upset with themselves because they should have done a better job. And when they get mad at themselves, who do they take it out on? You. So if you don't want to do your work, and you don't want to produce on Wednesday's test, and your parents get a hold of me and they say, hey, how'd Johnny do? How'd Janie do? If I say to them, well, you know, we took a test today and they got an 85, your parents are going to be like, oh, whew, I don't have to worry about this. This is how I want this. I can relax. And they're not going to get all over your case. But if I tell them, after getting a bad grade for the first market period, if I turn around and tell them, oh, well, they just got a 62, how do you think your parents are going to feel then?
They're gonna kick
They are, they're gonna kick your butt, that's exactly what they're
me. What
gonna
about
do.
Febby?
You had your hand up. You? Yes, you were like this. Oh, you're just stretching? Okay. So, no one in this room, absolutely no person in this room can tell me that this is a difficult question. This is an easy question. Now, the next one is a little bit more challenging, but the good news is, as I have looked at this on your papers and on your quizzes, you guys have been doing a really good job on this question, so let's keep it up. The slope formula is y from the second minus y from the first over x from the second minus x from the first. And I strongly recommend, you don't have to do this, but I do strongly recommend, at least in the beginning, until you nail them. Oh, God, this is a different question in the last couple of days. You know how we've been doing the slope the last few days? I figured out it was one of those. No, it's not. Let me erase this.
All of a sudden, just writing that.
So, sorry about that, guys. Let me see here. And there we go. Okay. So, write the equation of a line. As soon as it says that, I'm thinking y equals mx plus b. And then it says it's parallel to this guy. Do you remember what we found out about parallel lines and their slopes the other day? They're the same. Very good. Parallel lines have equal slopes. So, what is the slope of this line? It's 1/2. So now I know it has to be 1/2 x. And then it says the same y-intercept as this guy. What's the y-intercept of this guy? -4. So the answer is y equals 1/2 x minus 4. Again, I don't think that's particularly hard,
What about the other one?
okay?
What about that?
What about what?
Three.
No, that's the slope. It says it only has the same y-intercept. Great question, thank you for asking that. All right, any other questions? Okay, so now we get to the heart of today's lesson, and what it is we want to learn that's new today. It says, write the equation of the line that passes through 1, 3, and 3, 9. Now, to do this right, you need to both graph the points properly, but you need to be able to draw a straight line. What are the two things you need to do to get this right? Graph the points properly and draw a straight line. So if I want to write the equation of this line, there's a fancy way to do it using what they call analytic techniques, and we will get into that a little bit, but for the most part, there's an easier, more fundamental way. Passes through the point 1, 3. 1, 3 is over here, not here. Giselle, you with me on this? Okay, remember, any point is x, y. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. The x is 1, the y is 3. Here's where the x is 1, here's where the y is 3. So this point right here is the point 1, 3. Now, on your paper, very quickly, find the point 3, 9. Okay, so if I find 3, 9, it's over here. X is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if I draw this line very carefully,
That's not straight, that's like.
it's close enough, you'll see why. The thing that's so important, when I write the equation of a line, I'm always thinking y equals mx plus b. And I want to be really careful about where the line crosses the y-axis, because that's the y-intercept, that's how I figure out b. Where does this line cross the y-axis? That's right, 0, 0, right here. So I could put plus 0, and I really don't even need to write that. If I don't write anything, we assume it's 0. The second thing you need to do is figure out the slope. What's the slope from this point to the next point? Up how many, over how many? Up 6 over 2. Now, you could write 6 over 2, but we really should reduce that. What does 6 over 2 reduce to? 3 over 1, or I can even say just 3, but you could also say 3 over 1. They both work. So the answer is y equals 3x plus 0, or y equals 3 over 1x plus 0. In its most elegant form, it's just y equals 3x. And that would be the equation of the line. It's not that the other ones are wrong, it's just the cleanest way to write it. Now, let's go backwards and show that it works, okay? According to y equals 3x, what's the y-intercept? No, 0, and what's the slope? 3. So if I start at 0, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. Do you see how I get the same exact line? Forwards, backwards works the same way. So this is the key to today's lesson. The key to today's lesson is we plot the first point, we plot the second point, and then what do we have to be very, very careful to do?
Straight line.
Draw a straight line. And then we look for two things. What are the two things that we look for? What's one of them, Josh?
Where the line crosses
The y-axis, we call that the
line.
y-intercept. And what's the other thing we have to look at the line for? Come on, what do we need in the equation of a line? Y equals mx plus b. He figured out m, it's where it crosses the y-axis. I need, b, it's where it crosses the y-axis. We need m. How do we get m? It's the slope, and we count it, right? We look at the line, and we count. Okay, so, let's go to the line that passes through the point 2, 1, and 5, 9. Try that on your paper. Go ahead. Passes through 2, 1, and 5, 9. 2, 1, 5, 9. Boys? Dan's got a great idea. He's using the edge of his book as a straight edge.
rounding a piece of paper is another way to get a straight edge that works pretty well. Another way you can do it is just keep counting the slope. You know, extend the line, so to speak. Okay, so first I want to find the point 2, 1. 2, 1, right here. Everybody get 2, 1 to be right there?
Yeah.
Okay, not up here. That would be 1, 2. Next, 5, 9. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, one way to look at this is that this went up 8 and it went over 3. So if I go down 8, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, over 3, I'll get a perfectly straight line. And now, I draw the line. And obviously mine on the paper is a little bit crooked, but it works for the purpose that I wanted to show it. Here's the weakness of the technique that we're doing. The weakness is that sometimes you don't go through a perfect point on the y-axis. For that, we need another way where we use the analytic approach. We're going to get into that more tomorrow, or I should say on Monday. But for today's purposes, it's close enough to just show that we cross the line and then we would normally find the equation. So that sets up the next chapter that we have to do, okay? What is the equation of a line that has a y-intercept of -2, but is parallel of, pardon me, y-intercept of, y-intercept of -2, but is parallel to y equals 2x plus 9. What would the answer to that one be? What do we know about parallel lines and their slopes, guys?
Same slope.
Same slope, they're equal, very good. Okay, so what do we get for this one, everybody?
Y equals 2x plus
I wouldn't write 2x plus -2, I would write y equals 2x minus 2.
Oh,
If you put plus -2, it's not wrong, but it's tacky.
okay.
All right, we really don't want to do that. So we said it has to have the same slope as this guy. What's the slope of this guy, everybody?
2x.
Not 2x, 2. No x in the slope, so it's going to be y equals 2x. But it has this y-intercept. What's that y-intercept? -2, so I go -2. Okay, try the next one. Little hint here. The y-intercept of the next one is not 10. Right? It is not 10. How come it's not 10?
Because it's a 2x.
This says 2y. It's not in y equals mx plus b form yet, right? Okay, so I do a little manipulating here. After I'm done doing my manipulation, I add 8x to both sides, I divide by 2. Now what's the y-intercept? What is the y-intercept, guys? 5, very good. So it has this, it's parallel to this one. So what's the slope of this line? What is it? 1. So it's y equals 1x, or just x, and then what's the new y-intercept? Plus 5. Very good. So we can do this by reading the problem on the other one. Now, let's graph this one guy right here. This one works out beautifully. You can graph this, and you can find the equation of the line. -4, -2, and 4, 0. Graph those two, draw the line, and then write the equation of the line based on the slope and based on the y-intercept. Hold it. Hey, do not pack up.
Ow.
What is the y-intercept, everybody?
How do you get that?
I graphed the 2 points, I draw the line, what's the y-intercept?
What?
Look at it, what is the y-intercept? Hey, look at the picture, where does it cross the y-axis? -1, good. So I know my answer is -1 here, and what's the slope? Up how many, over how many? Up how many, over how many? 1/4. So it's y equals 1/4 s minus 1. Very good. Same lesson on Monday. Hasta la vista. Vaya con Dios. Toodaloo. Ta-ta. Arrivederci. Smile a lot. Ciao. Arrivederci. Adios, amigos y amigas. Cheerio. Galushus. Kadafis. Shalom.